Everything is illuminated. What a splendid title. In fact, this is based on a book that I have read and I didn't really enjoy that much. But the book, at least, has been very well received. The movie has mixed reviews, in fact. And the German Wood is at the center. And the title role, leading role, Jonathan Safran. As far as I can remember the author of the book on which the film is based, the script of the film is based, which a book which is largely autobiographical. Again, if memory of details of the introduction, details about the book memory is accurate to some extent. And there will be different feelings about this motion picture, different opinions, clearly. There will be emotional moments, amusing ones, challenging episodes, and then periods where it's hard to understand what do they mean by that. Nature would has decided on a puzzle look throughout the journey, which may fit the bill, may be pertinent choice or the only choice, seeing that he's traveling through Ukraine, which is at war now, and we have this background, and we have the history of the place, at least things that happened during Second World War. Before the war, the protagonist says to Alexander, the young man who comes with him, together with his grandfather and the dog, which is called Sammy Davis Jr. So he says, I understand that the Ukrainians didn't like Jewish people very much. What's to this effect, or in fact, or more serious. So Jonathan is there to find a woman to thank her for saving his grandfather, but then there's also the whole context of the Holocaust, the horrors caused by the Nazis and their sympathizers, and they had sympathizers here. As they had them in Ukraine and throughout. That's not to say that there were only that mean, vicious people, which we can see from Putin to Trump and their supporters. I'm laughing because I had a comment, I rarely have comments, but one was a very upset man that what does Trump have to do with anything? Well, for me, he's the epitome of the paradigm of stupidity, monstrosity. So if we're talking bad guys and we're doing movies, books, stupidity, then he is proud for me. Then, you know, what helps explain some things. You want to know how stupid he was? His villain, Putin. And his enablers, because he's not the only one. And he has people around the globe. Somebody would say, what does Lula have to do with it? Well, he had a comment some months ago. I was thinking, okay, I knew he's leftist and he had this corruption thing. And I said, okay, it's better than the alternative than the monster box and now. Now it's a choice between two monsters. Apparently, about the same. Just, just as disgusting. Interesting. Trying to return. So they travel with a trabant to find these places, in fact, places that they don't see on the map. People don't know they exist or they deny that exist. There's this thing also. Stages of grief, of pain, denial. Which is sometimes amusing. Where is not Treblinka, that's a place they exist, but something Trebicon. I don't know. So anyway, it's very sad mostly. In fact, that's the idea of going to find about this past, which was so horrid, so cataclysmic that it's hard to believe that people did that to other humans. So there is that, but there is also amusement, mixed, very mixed with tragedy, with most often in this film, anti-Semitism. Let's take this case. They mention Sammy Davis Jr. and the old man they have, the grandfather who's driving, who apparently, maybe we'll find out that he had an involvement in the Second World War, and not the good one, on the contrary. Let's not introduce spoiler alerts. We don't know, we're just guessing, and we see his attitudes, and actually he's quite obnoxious. I'm not happy with the choice of the actor also, because okay, there's the one thing, he has to play a fellow who may turn out to be mean, but anyway, Alex, the young man, is portrayed by an actor who's a much better choice. So anyway, Simon Davis Jr. in the Trabant, as a child would. Sorry, Jonathan II, Jewish. It can be. What do you mean it can't be? Sammy Jr. Europe just no. It's the not many famous African American, used black men who were Jewish. Sammy Davis Jr. converted as far as I know. He was Jewish from the beginning, but again, if I remember, he converted Judaism, which is so much easier in America. You have so many liberal rabbis and so on. You can't do that with an ultra-Orthodox rabbi in Israel or in America for that matter. There are fewer, if any, ultra-Orthodox. So there is that. And the dog is funny, quite often, most often. Interesting element. And the car was hardened cardboard, or plastified car. That was when a car so much any car was covered that you had to wait here for a couple of years or more or use connection. That's not what we know. It's who we know. Communism was. Clearly not egalitarian. It was misery that somebody said. I think it was Churchill. Again, Churchill. Capitalism is about unequal situated wealth. In communism, this misery equally shared. In fact, George Orwell. All animals are equal, but some animals are not good animals. So anyway, cars, Trabant, incredible that you can have such a car like that. Cardboard. Well, plastified, whatever, carbon, but still. and with a good engine, German, he's German car. Wanted, but still you could use those jokes which were true, if you will, for Dacia, for Skoda back then. Now Skoda, Dacia, of course, brands owned by serious car makers, Renault, Volkswagen. So what do you have heating on the rear window of this or the other car to keep your hands warm when you push? Trabant though had a good engine, German.